Hello everyone, this is the Cursing Seamstress coming at you for another video. This time it's a pattern review. I sewed McCall's 7803 and this is what it looks like. It's either a top or a dress, and you have the option of putting on a peplum and the sleeves can be changed up to be short, long, and or have a flounce on the bottom. There is a zipper on the back. This is what the line art looks like. I bought sizes 14 through 22. This does not say it's an easy pattern at all. And I was looking for the date on here. What's new? It's 2018. Let me move this back over there. Okay. It's from 2018, so it's a new pattern. Well, before I made this, I went on to Pattern Review and looked at some of the reviews and some of the photographs. I think everyone on there said something about how confusing the ties were. And so I always like to look at the reviews that have fewer than 5 stars because they're the ones who are going to tell you that there's an issue. But I think everyone who said that also said that they got through it. So that was fine. I had the pattern and I wanted to make it. And I had the perfect fabric too. I bought fabric at, I can't remember, either the DAV, CHKD, or Goodwill a while ago. And it looks to me to be a rayon. So I'm going to do this video where first I do the review, show you the dress not on me, and that kind of thing. And then later I'm going to come back and just show you some photographs or a video of me in the dress. The dress looks fine. It's very wearable. It's a little low here, but that's easy to fix. It fits me well. I made a size 18. Ready to wear, I wear a size 12. And I usually, for things small, medium, large, I will buy a large. And the 18 was the right size for me to make. All right, so let me just show you. Let me show you what the dress you saw on the pattern, but let me just show you the dress. This is it. This is the fabric. It's lovely. It does crease, but it's not horrible. But this is it. These are the ties, and I'm going to undo the tie. Excuse me, the ties, so you can see what they look like. The ties do not come in from the side. They are not cut separately from the dress. They are sewn into the bodice, which is really strange. And that's the part I want to talk with you about, because that's the only trouble that I had. The back is pretty basic. It's a raglan sleeve, and that worked out really well. The skirt part is great. As a matter of fact, what I'm thinking about doing, if I ever use this pattern again, is to use the skirt part and to find a bodice that will fit the skirt. It does come up short in length, and it doesn't, I was just looking at the pattern doesn't show you with a person wearing it, but this probably comes to above the knee. I lengthened it by 1 inch so that it hits me a little bit lower. If I were to use the skirt part again, I would lengthen it by 2 or 3 inches. It's pretty short. So all of this came together fine. It has a facing here that comes down to this open part. This is the part that I think I need to stitch up about an inch or so, but this was not difficult to do. The flutter sleeves were easy. This fabric behaved really nicely. I liked it. It was a little shifty, but not horribly so. You have, in the front, you've got some darts on either side here. You have darts on the skirt in the front and in the back. You have darts also in the back of the bodice. It calls for an invisible zipper. I did not do that. I did a traditional zipper. This side piece on the bodice also, the top part is meant to be blousy. And so you actually, on this bodice, you will fold down a portion of the side all the way down to where the skirt joins it, so that you get this fullness right here. That's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, this part is the part that's tricky. And let me show you what I don't like. The way they tell you to do attach the skirt to the bodice, and this is the part that looks really sloppy and needs to be finished. And I guess I'm a little hesitant to do it, but this doesn't look so great right here. This is where it's really hard to show you. This is where those ties attach to the bodice. And when you're doing it, it's like you're having this seam from the bodice meet up with the skirt and and where those ties are. So the trick is to sew this without sewing on those ties. And it's really weird and very tricky. So this might give you a better idea. Maybe not. But here it is. And here the darn ties are. Now, they tell you, I think they tell you to turn these right side out before you start to sew the, I can't remember, but I think they tell you to turn it out. So this seam here is ugly. And what I was going to tell you is when you sew the front part of the skirt on to the bodice, they tell you to sew from the side to the center, from the side to the center, and then make everything meet at this center junction. So you really need to, and the one thing that you really need to be careful about is all of the markings that are on the pattern. You really need to pay attention and mark them exactly where they need to be. You need to mark the center of the bodice and the center of the skirt, because those two pieces are the juncture and the critical point right in the middle where those ties have to be balanced and centered, and your seam has to come together exactly the right way. I did have to unpick maybe 2 inches or so. One of the ties somehow got in there, and I say somehow, but it's really easy to have that happen. It's kind of like you don't know what to do with those ties. You don't know how to keep them out of the way. So that's the issue that I had. But it's a beautiful dress. Like I said, it fits me really, really well. It looks okay. You do have a bit of bulk when you tie the tie. When I looked on Pattern Review, I saw that there were some people who had made their dress from heavier fabrics, and it's not a dress that's going to work with a heavier fabric. You really need a drapey, flowy, thinner fabric. So I just wanted to show you the pattern piece. This is the front part of the bodice. So there is a seam down the front. This is the tie. This is where the raglan sleeve fits in. This is where you are going to fold this part down to make the blousiness in the bodice. This is the pleat here. I said dart, but they call it a pleat. Here's the center front, something that you need to pay attention to. There are dots and squares and all kinds of stuff on here. So when you sew this, this is the tie, you will fold this tie section over right sides together and sew up to a certain point. And again, it's just really weird. You sew this together and then you have to sew the bodice on the skirt. So that's critical. You really need some good marking pins to be able to see all of the squares and dots and lines and things. So anyway, this is definitely not for a beginner, but if you were a skilled seamstress, you probably won't have any trouble doing it. I guess I don't consider myself to be so skilled. I've been sewing for a long, long time. And I kind of got to the point with this where it was attaching the bodice to the skirt. How many times have I said bodice to the skirt? But I kind of got to the point where I'm not going to be able to make this work. And that's when I unpicked and sewed back together. And it's fine. But again, it's kind of rough looking around that seam. But I have been sewing for 40 years, I guess, but I'm nowhere near being an expert or very skilled seamstress at all. I mean, you've seen what I make. But anyway, it's a great pattern. I really would look at the length of the skirt. That's something you may, if you are of a certain age like I am, you may want to make it a little bit longer. I would go for at least 2 inches longer. And just pay attention to all the markings on the pattern. That's really crucial. And that's all. I will put some photos in of my wearing this. I'm on my way out. I have to run an errand. It's a Sunday. I have to run an errand before church, go to church, and then go out to eat. And we're supposed to have rain in the afternoon, which is wonderful. I love rain. And I'll probably come home and take a nap after I have been fed. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.